Launching. Moderate chuck. Moderate chuck. Takes right off. Okay, so in the first flight, all we did really was test it out in low rate. Let me see if I need to trim this up again. There we go. Alright, let's bring it back around here. Still got it in low rate. Okay. Alright, we got it in high rate now. Let's see what that does. Oh yeah, we definitely got a better turn rate. You gotta be careful with that. You can really dump it over in high rate. Alright, back to the right. Back pressure on the elevator. That's a pretty tight turn. Back to the left, elevator. Pretty tight turn. Alright, so I'll have to get used to it in high rate, but that's probably where I'm going to fly it. Alright, so now let's see if we can lose a little bit of altitude. Back pressure on the elevator, back pressure on the elevator. Back pressure on the elevator. Back pressure on the elevator. Look at that, is a pretty tight turn for that. I'm just mucking around with the throttle to see what it will do. That's pretty slow. Power, pressure on the elevator, power, pressure on the elevator. That's pretty slick. Now I'm just concentrating on flying it more slowly. If you're not so aggressive on the turns and get a flatter turn, you can cruise around pretty slowly with it. Look at that. A little bit of throttle. Now you get that little wobble out of it because when it's not going straight, the gyro will increase or decrease the motors to keep it going straight. Look at that. That's pretty slow flight for this little plane. Isn't that cool? I got somebody driving through here. Isn't that cool? I think that's a pretty decent little beginner plane. That's a pretty tight turn. And I'm just being kind of gentle on the controls here and the turns, so that I'm not dumping it over really hard, you know? And I'm not having to put much pressure at all on the elevator when I'm doing that. Yeah, that's turning pretty flat. That's a pretty neat little 3-channel plane. I got a car just sitting still over there now. I don't know what they're doing. I wish I had blue skies out here so it would be a little bit easier to see it. But I'm just nudging it around. Just nudging it around. So you can fly this around pretty slowly, and you can make fairly tight turns with it, even flying slowly. That's a pretty good turn radius there, guys. Isn't it? Look at that. And it's staying pretty flat. So yeah, this is just my second flight. So I think a beginner, you know, through 3 battery packs with this, if you get the 3 battery version, I think they're going to be pretty proficient with it by the time, and I've already had it in the air for 7 minutes. I can't believe that. Okay, so the first time I flew it, and let me turn this timer off here. The first time I flew it, I had my timer set for 7 minutes. I had a couple of bad landings, so I picked it up and launched it again until I was happy with my landing. It wasn't great, but it's all rutted up out here. So I took my multimeter out and looked and checked the battery. I still had 3.87 volts, 3.87 volts in the pack. And that, I probably had power on it, you know, with those 2 go-arounds. I probably had it in the air for about 8.5 minutes. So just cruising around like I am now slowly, I bet you'll get 20 minutes of flight time out of this, which I think is what they stated. But if you're not hard on the throttle, like I'm being pretty easy on the throttle right now, I'm just flying it around here at about 50 to 60% throttle. Let me check that. Yeah, I'm just at about 50% throttle. I'm increasing throttle a little bit in the turn, but you're going to get a tremendous amount of flight time out of this just cruising around, which is what a beginner is going to do. So I think for a beginner plane, I think this little 3-channel plane is going to work out pretty well. Takes just a little bit of finesse, you know, in the turns, you know, as long as you don't get crazy with it. And I've got it in high rate right now. I like that. I like doing the high rate. But I don't think they're going to have any problem with this plane. And it's made out of EPP foam, so it should be really durable. Plus the fact that it's got 2 pusher motors on it, so you're not going to tear up the motors or the props unless you know, go in tail first, I guess. Okay, so let's bring it back around and see if we can put it on the ground. I want to see what this guy's going to do over here. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's just watching me. Oh, now he's coming through, of course. Never fails, man. I'll wait till he goes by. I should have plenty of battery just cruising around like this, so I'm going to wait until he comes through, and then I will try to land it in an area that's not so darn rutted out. Going around. Okay, let's try that again. We'll see if we can bring it in a little more slowly. You don't want to bring it in too slow because it will speed one of those motors up, you know. Must be some wind up there. It's climbing on me now. Alright, let's see if we can bring it back in here. Nice and easy like. Nice and easy. Boom! Okay, I'm calling that good. Anyway, it's a fun little 3-channel version of this Predator. I think that a beginner is going to have a heck of a lot of fun with it. You're going to get a tremendous amount of flight time just cruising around with it. Links to it will be in the show notes. I really recommend, there's a 2-battery version and a 3-battery version, and I think the 3-battery version is only $2 more than the 2-battery version. And if you buy that battery separately, it's going to cost you a lot more than $2 for the battery. So I think it's a pretty good deal getting the 3-battery version. I have links to it in the show notes. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.